Hello guys, welcome back to the first ever episode of Through the Field. You guys might be questioning, what do you mean first episode of Through the Field? So Through the Field is basically, whenever NASCAR news comes up, I will be making a video about it and letting you guys know. Like, for example, if any changes happen during the season, or I'll be recapping the race and, stuff like that. I'm very happy I'm doing this. I've been wanting to do this for a while, but I never really just had the motivation to do it. Now I do. Today we're going to be talking about, Bristol and kind of recapping that race and talking about top 3 finishers, some drivers who we thought could win and had a bad day. Also, I'd like to say really fast, I do not have a 47 diecaster. The only Ricky Stenhouse diecast I have, or the second to only one I have, is a 17 car from 2019, so that's why I'm using that. So yeah, we're going to be talking about the top 3 finishers, but ladies and gentlemen, please make sure to like and subscribe so you always get notified when I upload a video. Alright, so I would first like to talk about the top 3 finishers today. So the race winner, Joey Logano, has come back to win a historic race that will probably, looking back on it, 50 years from now or whatever, will really be a historic race. He wins the first NASCAR race on dirt in 51 years, pretty much making history again, with second place being Ricky Stenhouse Jr. This is kind of a surpriser. I didn't really think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was going to end up coming home second. Now, I know he's like a dirt racer. I don't really follow that much dirt racing, but I've heard that he's a dirt racer and stuff. But I was expecting, maybe a top 10, maybe, 5th or 6th place out of him. But, man, he restarted that race in 4th, all right? And then since they decided they're doing single-file restarts now, which we're also going to be talking about that later in the episode. And then, the final restart when Triggs blew a tire and, Hamlin just didn't get the restart. Stenhouse got to Hamlin and passed him. I feel like if they got another caution, Stenhouse probably would have won the race. I also do think if they ended up keep sticking with the side-by-side restart, Stenhouse would have probably won the race, which we will be talking about the side-by-side restarts in a little bit, and why they changed the restarts, because I have my opinion on that. But yeah, I was very surprised at Stenhouse, and he was starting to gain a lot on Logano, and he sent it into 3 and 4, but it wasn't enough for him to get that win. But I mean, he has had a very good season. Now coming home with the best finish of the season, second place. Stenhouse, I think he might be able to win a race in the future this season. But yeah, I think he could come home with a win at Talladega or another short track. He has had a solid season lately, and I definitely feel like Stenhouse can come home with a win. But let's talk about third place, Denny Hamlin. Hamlin I really wasn't really paying that much attention to Hamlin, so I don't really know where he finished a lot. On stage 2, Hamlin finished 3rd. In stage 1, Denny Hamlin finished 3rd. So, I mean, it looks like it was a pretty solid day for Denny Hamlin. I wasn't really watching him that much. He led 1 lap today. So, I mean, not much to say about Hamlin. I wasn't really paying attention to him, but he probably could have gotten second place if, he was really just trying to use that high lane. On that green flag run, I feel like that high lane was really just affecting him, because then he sent it in one corner on the high lane. I don't think he ever let off the gas trying to catch him so much, and then he ended up hitting the wall. So, yeah, pretty solid day for Denny Hamlin. I just feel like I'm not a Denny Hamlin fan, but I do feel like that if he didn't, if he had maybe ran the bottom a little bit more, he definitely could have probably finished at least second today, or maybe even could have came home with the win. And now let's talk about first place, Joey Logano. So I want to go back to stage 1 really fast, because Joey Logano finished 6th in the first stage, and he actually qualified 10th So it was a pretty good day for him with the qualifying, since that got canceled. He won stage 2 because Suarez just didn't get the best restart, and Logano ended up getting in. I think it was Suarez, yeah, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I do remember. I think he moved Suarez up the track or something. And then, ever since he took the lead there, he pretty much led the entire rest of the race. And that final restart, I bet you for sure he was very frustrated when the caution came out. Because I bet you he was, because I would have been frustrated too, not like mad at like the track or whatever, but I just would have been frustrated because, you're so close to the win, and now you got to go back and you got to hope that you don't get the win taken away from you because, a wreck or whatever. So here is another person I want to talk about really fast is the 19 car of Martin Truex Jr. Today, I don't really know how, the Bristol race for him today was really an up and down race because he had, he was doing very, very good in the first stage. If I'm not mistaken, he won stage 1. Today was just a really up and down day for him. He started off the day super well by pretty much dominating the truck race. Ended up getting his first ever Truck Series win. And it had been 15 years since he made a truck start. And he also got, I believe, and he said he wasn't really good on dirt. Or he didn't have a lot of experience on it. I don't think he ever raced on dirt. And they ended up coming there like no issue and won Bristol Dirt in the trucks. So then the Cup race starts. And, Truex is doing good. Kyle Busch ends up leading, and then his engine starts to overheat. He has to pit. Kyle ended up finishing 17th, coming back to stay on the lead lap. So yeah, Kyle engine overheats, comes down pit lane, and then I believe then Martin took the leader. Who took the lead? I think it might have been Denny Hamlin who took the lead. I'm pretty sure it was Denny Hamlin, if I'm not mistaken. So I believe Denny Hamlin had taken the lead, or maybe it was Martin Truex Jr. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, so then Martin takes the lead, and then he starts leading a bunch of laps, pretty much dominated stage 1, ended up winning stage 1. And then stage 2 comes, he ends up finishing 4th. I think he was just trying to save some tires. And then the final stage comes, and Martin is just trying to save as much. He's trying to save tires. You can even hear him on the radio. He ended up being the last car on the lead lap. But Martin was trying to save a lot of tires. And then, you could hear it on the radio when they played it on the TV. They said, then they had the conversation. They said, push it, go, go, go. He started gaining, and then the caution came. And then Hamlin hit the wall. He got to the inside of Hamlin, then got held up by lap traffic. Caution came out. Put them into overtime. And then they do the single file restarts. And Truex blows the tire entering 1, hits the wall. Pretty much ended a good chance at him winning. Finishes 19th after a up and down day, dominating the beginning part of the race, and then just kind of flopping in the end part of the race. Also, a great run for Daniel Suarez and that Trackhouse Racing team. They ended up leading 58 laps today. Suarez has gotten a lot of, I think he's had a pretty solid season so far, not the best though, but this is his best finish in a very, very long time. With last season, him driving for Gaunt Brothers, nobody really talked about him that much. He was just kind of there in the field. And now you see him, top 15, top 20 every weekend. And, he started a pretty solid season with the new Trackhouse team. And I feel like we could see Suarez finally get that first win that, he's been looking for a very long time. And Ryan Newman ends up rounds off the top 5. A pretty solid day for him. But something I want to talk about is the choice NASCAR made. I believe it was after, I don't remember what caution it was, but NASCAR had decided midway through the race, a caution came out. I can't remember which caution it was for. It was the competition caution, if I'm not mistaken. Then they decide single file restarts for the rest of the race. The choice that NASCAR made, honestly, I don't really agree with it. I think that, I think it's kind of stupid midway through the race to decide, all right, you know what? No, it's too dusty on the starts. We're gonna start doing single file restarts now. Like, from watching the truck race, they should have decided, all right, it was really dusty on the starts there. Now they'll do single file restarts in the Cup race. But no, they did double file restarts, and the restarts were pretty exciting. And they decided, it's hard for the drivers to see we're putting in the single file restarts. They haven't done single file restarts since they were driving like COTs, I believe. The end of those cars. But like, I feel like it was really dumb. Mid-race, they're gonna decide, you know what? It's too dusty and stuff. You guys doing single file restarts now. Like, if they didn't decide to do single file restarts in the middle of a race, Stenhouse could have probably taken the lead when they were doing double file restarts. I really, really disagree with them doing the single file restarts in the middle of a race. It wasn't making it so much more. The restarts didn't feel as exciting anymore because you just knew, all right, the leader's gonna take off. The second place car is probably gonna, not get the best restart, and then boom, the leader's gonna dominate, and maybe second place can catch him. It wasn't as exciting. That was the one thing that pretty much ruined today's race. The fact that, they decided midway, no more double file, we're doing single file. Probably a pretty dumb decision NASCAR made. Another thing I want to talk about really quick is Bubba Wallace's spin that he had on track today. All right, so Bubba Wallace in 1 and 2 was on the high groove. He cut down his left rear, if I'm not mistaken, blew a tire, and spun out. All right, he does a 360. I believe he spun out, did like a 360, saved the car. NASCAR decides no caution. But when I believe it was the 51 car of Cody Ware spun out on the apron, NASCAR decided, all right, it's a caution. Now, I get that Cody Ware was like in the middle of traffic, but I mean, there were some people running the high line, and NASCAR decided not to throw out a caution. This is another thing that I found stupid today, that NASCAR decided, we're not going to throw a caution for Bubba Wallace spinning, which pretty much, if they really should have thrown out a caution because, he spun. And since they didn't throw out the caution, he ended up finishing 27th after having a solid top 10 day. Now, another driver I want to talk about really fast is Stuart Friesen, who made his Cup Series debut in the number 77 car for Spire Motorsports. Stuart Friesen didn't have, I guess he had a solid day. He's in Spire equipment. I don't really know what you expect out of them. I wasn't surprised. I thought maybe he would be in the top 20. Not super surprised where he finished. That's just Spire equipment. I don't really think, I wasn't expecting him to win this weekend. There's some people who thought he could get a top 5. No, I didn't think he was going to even get a top 10, but he finished 23rd, so pretty okay day for him. And another thing I want to talk about is, okay, so now we're going to talk about today, all right, so we're going to talk about now is some of the dirt favorites who just DNF'd. We're going to talk about Christopher Bell first. There were a lot of people who were saying Christopher Bell's going to win this race, or Kyle Larson's going to win this race, or Chase Briscoe, or all the dirt guys were going to win. And one of the dirt guys were going to win today. Now, at first I was like, oh, Kyle Larson or Christopher Bell. It's easy. They're really good at dirt racing. But then I started to think, watching the truck race and, surf racing not having the best day and Mark Truex winning, then I was like, I don't think we're going to see a dirt, like Kyle Larson or them win, like the dirt drivers who have, good on dirt. And I was like, he might get a second place or something, but something's going to go wrong and they're not going to win. And then I believe it was lap 41. If I'm not mistaken. I think it was lap 41. The big one strikes. Larson gets involved. The 78 of Shane Golovic wrecks. And I think even the 78 was maybe a favorite. And also, I've never heard of this guy until NASCAR said how some people chose a Rick Ware racing car as the winning car. Chris Windom apparently is a dirt car driver. I've never heard of him in my life. And there are some people who thought he was going to win, obviously because he's a dirt driver. But he actually didn't win. He ended up finishing 33rd because of an engine issue. And then the 5 car of Kyle Larson, another dirt driver, had just a terrible day. Got involved in the big one, and then he got involved with the incident with him and Christopher Bell. It was just a disastrous day for Kyle Larson. Then Suarez moved him up the track to move him out of the way, and then Larson's bumper pretty much just came off. I don't know how he was still running. And another driver who we're probably not going to spend a lot of time talking about, JT Yeley's a dirt driver, Rick Ware Racing Equipment, 28th. Not really surprised that finish. He's a bad driver, but what can you expect out of Rick Ware Racing Equipment? But yeah, I was pretty shocked that, Kyle Larson and, Christopher Bell and Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe ended up finishing 20th. Also had a terrible day. Got involved in a wreck where I think it was the Newman spin. I remember seeing Harvick coming up and accidentally hitting him. And Briscoe, literally the front of his car went in the air as he got into the wall. And he hit him into the wall. And I believe he spun out on the front stretch and hit the wall a little bit. He still recovered for a top 20, so not a terrible day for him. And another dirt racer who actually won some races on Bristol last week in dirt cars, Austin Dillon. He ended up finishing 21st. Just wasn't, I feel like if they race in the Bristol Dirt again next year, I feel like a lot of people, just because, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, just because those guys are dirt racers, it's not, these cars are completely different than dirt cars. You can't just, Kyle Larson's going to win because he's a dirt car driver. And I'm not saying that you can't say Kyle Larson's going to win, even if he's your favorite driver. But, if you're going to say somebody's going to win just because they're a dirt car driver, I'm going to disagree with you, because Kyle Larson ended up crashing in the truck race, and then he ended up having a terrible day in this race. It was really just a bad day for all these dirt car racers, and I'm actually quite surprised Joey Logano ended up coming home with the victory in Bristol Dirt. I'm going to rate today's race. I will give this race a solid, I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10, a 6 out of 10. 6.5. We'll go with that. 6.5 out of 10. It's just some of the stuff they did in the race just really kind of ruined it. They didn't throw the caution for Bubba Wallace when he spun. they made the race at single file. And I feel like the hype for Bristol Dirt, just for like what we got, I feel like, in my opinion, Bristol Dirt, all the hype for Bristol Dirt really wasn't as exciting as I really thought it was going to be. And like, plus, when they would turn the cars, if you were on the inside, it didn't even look like you were on dirt. You know, your car got a little sideways, but it had just looked like your car got a little loose. They were still pretty much going. And even though they had to turn the car, you know, left and right and stuff to keep it to stay how it was, the cars still looked like they were on asphalt. Personally, I think next year they shouldn't do Bristol Dirt and they should just stick on the asphalt, because there was always good racing there with the bump and run and stuff. And yeah, a solid 6.5 out of 10. Not the best race the hype was all about. So yeah, that's going to do it for today, the first episode of Through the Field. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And if you guys want to see more of these, please comment down below, like, and subscribe so you always get notified when I upload a video, including these, so you can hear all the NASCAR news I talk about. And I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, guys.